back with the second half of our show. We're going to break down, give our takes about this 2025 college football playoff bracket. Um, so, yeah, let's get into it, guys. Um, talk about our top four seeds. Indiana, obviously, with that win over Ohio State, secures a perfect 13-0 season as well as a conference championship. So they lock up that one seed. The second seed is the Big Ten runner-up, Ohio State, 12-1. Three seed Georgia, SEC champion at 12-1 as well, and then Texas Tech, the Big 12 champion at 12-1. Now, as you mentioned this earlier on in the show, and I agree with you to an extent. Um, I do believe Indiana is the number one team in the country. They earned it. They deserved it. They've played like it. But it does make me scratch my head a little bit to see Ohio State above Georgia. They have identical records. Georgia has a better resume. Um, I get Ohio State's one loss came in the championship game, but Georgia's an actual champion. So I would put Georgia at number two. Texas Tech, I'd even maybe stretch it and put them at three and drop Ohio State to four. Um, but yeah, I think Indiana and Georgia should be the top two seeds, although it works out the same way anyways. Georgia's on the same side of the bracket as they would be if they were the two seed. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's
Well,
our
not
top four.
necessarily. That's kind of why it all worked out at the end, I think, if you're a Georgia fan, because them getting the three seed instead of the two does give them the luxury of playing a coachless Ole Miss as opposed to an A&M that I think could secretly make the national championship. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a take house.
A&M, you have to respect them. You have to respect A&M. I think Miami stands absolutely no shot on the road. I think that game may be. I think Miami may lose by more than 20 points. Honestly, I think A&M's gonna have enough time. They get what? They get a nice little 2 week break, I
3 weeks.
believe. 3 week break, even more. I mean, they got Jeremiah Smith is a dog, but you can argue A&M has the best wide receiver duo in the country with Marcel Reed in that defense. I just think A&M's loaded, and that's not a team you want to see in the first round of the playoffs, let alone at the crib. So Miami's gonna get walked, and that's gonna leave A&M to play Ohio State. And like I said, mentioned earlier, Ohio State trailed for the first time all year in the fourth quarter of the Big Ten chip. So they're not well seasoned when it comes to close games, and that's extremely dangerous. Like that's what football is. It's going to come down to inches. It's going to come down to one play, and that experience matters. They got that versus Indiana, so that's great. But I think A&M's won a lot more close games. They're more battle tested than Ohio State, and if they can get the lead early, they do have a chance. That's looking pretty far into the bracket, but I think Georgia got blessed having the three seed because they'll have to play the winner of Tulane and Ole Miss as opposed to A&M. And I think we all believe that A&M is better than Ole Miss. What are your thoughts?
I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna be that much of a blowout in terms of A&M and Miami. Like
Even the home game for A&M?
I think that both of these teams, I think A&M should win the game, but I don't really trust A&M as much as I trust some of these other teams. Like we've seen A&M get down almost 30 points to South Carolina, and we've seen, like we've seen them lose to Texas. Um, and obviously we've seen Miami take some bad L's and all that, but I think these are two teams with quarterbacks you can't really trust when it comes down to it. Um, and I think that honestly makes it like a wild card type of game. Like I think it's a little bit more unpredictable. I think on paper A&M is way better, and they should be way better coached than Miami because we know about game day Mario. But I don't really trust either quarterback when it comes to handling pressure. And we know about new alarm Carson Beck. Like I don't think he got it.
Really, you don't think Marcel? I think the opposite when it comes to handling pressure. I mean, Marcel Reeves won some pretty big games this year. On the road versus LSU, on the road versus Mizzou, big game versus Florida. I mean, at Notre Dame,
We
that
calling
one was
Mizzou a big one. Come on now, stop
a
it.
big win in terms of under pressure. I mean, that's a loud environment on the road. I know the stadium's undergoing renovations, but that's still a tough crowd. Mizzou's not no easy place to play. It's definitely no easy. It's not a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk on the road. And this year,
Yeah,
they definitely put belt to ass versus them. And even on the road versus Notre Dame, like I said, they barely squeezed that one out. But best receiver duo in the league, in my opinion, Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver are absolutely crazy. They're like the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins low key of college football. And they're going dumb this year. I think they could go a long way in these playoffs. And yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you to an extent when you say on paper they're better and it could be closer than expected. But I'm very familiar with Miami's quarterback, and I don't think Carson Beck can go bar for bar with Marcel Reed.
yeah. I think Texas A&M and M and Ohio State are actually very kind of similar. I know Texas A&M, except spe-
Your mic went out, Sean.
I mean back. Yo yo.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
Yeah. Okay. Like I was saying, yeah, I just think A&M, kind of similar to Ohio State, really hasn't played anybody. So I still think both of those teams are kind of a little bit of a mystery, maybe. In sense of they're not truly battle tested yet. Although obviously the SEC is more of a gauntlet than the Big Ten. But again, they A&M played against the bottom half of the SEC the entire season. So I'm very interested to see what that matchup would be like on paper, not on paper, but on the field, because I think on paper, both those teams are pretty similar. Crazy strong defenses, pretty elite. I should say not receiving core, but top two wide receivers, dynamic quarterback, iffy run game. I hope Texas A&M does win that game against Miami for personal reasons, but as well for that A&M versus Ohio State matchup.
I say non-existent run game. I don't even know about iffy. I mean, Texas A&M's identity is not on the ground
No,
at
but I
all.
think with Marcel Reed, they automatically become a more dangerous run team than
Absolutely.
somebody else who isn't good at running the ball.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. You're right. They're not a run first team. They want to be, but they
Yep.
just aren't consistent enough. They've had a
And
couple
that's
games.
what's really good about Texas A&M though, because when you look at it, typically when you have a mobile quarterback like that and you force him into passing situations, that's when you compromise him and you have an advantage. But when you got two guys on the perimeter and one in Concepcion who could line up on the perimeter in the slot, like you force Marcel Reed to get the ball to those guys. So, and his arm is he has a strong arm, so it's not like he can't stretch the field. A&M's dangerous, but their defense could be their weakness. I definitely think they've given up way too many points to some mid-ass offenses this year. So if teams like Mizzou and Arkansas can put up 35 plus, then I'm not sure what Ohio State would do to them.
Sean, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
A&M has had a weak schedule, though. I do agree with Sean. Are you still in here, Sean?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. My bad. I don't know
All
music.
good. Their
But
schedule is definitely pretty weak, though. I mean, they've played the bottom half of the SEC, like you said. So that is a
yeah,
very,
all their wins
very,
are like Florida,
very
South
good win.
Carolina, Kentucky, whoever, and they finally
No
played.
Kentucky,
Texas.
but they've
I
beat
mean,
Auburn, they've beat
yeah,
Florida,
yeah. I was just
Arkansas,
naming
LSU.
low tier teams, but yeah. I don't know. I don't think that means they're bad though. I mean, they were waxing a lot of those teams, and I'm high on A&M. I think, like you, I think they're a dangerous team in that bottom half of the bracket. But before we move on to the top half of the bracket, Just want to talk about a little bit this Tulane Ole Miss game. Ole Miss is a wild card, guys. They obviously lost their coach Lane Kiffin. They retained both of their coordinators at least for the playoff run. Uh, what's the guy's name? What's the offensive coordinator's name? Do we know? I forget his name. I have it a blank. Charlie Wise. Charlie Wise Jr., the OC. He will be with the team for the playoffs. Um, don't know if that means he's going back to LSU to be with Lane Kiffin, but at least be with Ole Miss for the playoffs. And then obviously Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, is taking over as the head coach. So I don't think they're going to drop off as much because, again, they're retaining both of their coordinators. Lane Kiffin was the play caller, but Charlie Wise has called plays as well. Tulane, I think, is the better of the two
I
G5
don't think
team.
Lane Kiffin was calling plays.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so maybe Charlie Wise was calling plays the whole time. So that's even better for Ole Miss. Um, I think Tulane is the better of the two G5 teams. And again, like I mentioned, I do think they can maybe keep it within that 17 and a half points. I think they have a top 25 defense in college football. Tulane has also been a team that historically has been able to take on some of these better teams. Ole Miss banked them earlier in the year, 45-10, but we saw them beat USC last year, back-to-back 11-win seasons. They have some talent. Again, I don't expect them to win this game because I don't think Ole Miss is going to be in shambles. I think they're going to have a pretty good cohesiveness, and that makes Ole Miss dangerous because they're a damn good team. I know they thought they were going to have a better matchup with Georgia earlier on in the year, and Georgia kind of woke them up. But I think this time around, once they get through Tulane, as they probably should, I think that Ole Miss Georgia matchup is just as compelling as that A&M Ohio State matchup would be. I think the bottom half of the bracket is stacked.
Yeah, I think this Tulane Ole Miss game is a joke, to be completely honest. They got beat by 35 earlier in the year. Quarterback had 56 passing yards. It was a massacre. I mean, I don't see what could possibly go different in this game. I have no idea what could possibly go different in this game. It's not a neutral site. I maybe it is because it's in the state of Mississippi, but that didn't matter last time. I really just don't think that they'll be able to compete. And with Lane Kiffin leaving, I think if there's any dark horse in this bracket, it's Ole Miss. I mean, to no one would ever fathom a coach leaving his team before the playoffs, and we all know the variables about the scheduling and all that. But at the end of the day, he left his coach before they went. He left his team before they went on a playoff run, and I don't think any kid wishes for that. Like that's not ideal for anybody. So Ole Miss definitely got something to prove, and if they beat them 45-10 the first game, I mean, I'm looking at this box score. Like I said, Jake, the quarterback, had 56 passing yards, and he's a running quarterback, so he's not used to passing the ball. So when they go down, it's
Yeah,
just like
Tulane's
Tulane
a
has
running team.
absolutely no chance. Yeah, I mean they're absolutely a running team. They have like they have four running backs technically that they frequently use, including the quarterback. So if they don't get turnovers, they're gonna have to win a turnover battle. I think there's only one way for Tulane to win this game, and it's dominating in a turnover battle. They're gonna
Ole
need a
Miss doesn't really turn
miracle.
over the ball, I don't think. So it's going to be tough for Tulane.
Yeah.
I
So
think I think they're physical and
Godspeed to the Green Wave, man.
Godspeed. Let's talk about this top half of the bracket, though. Obviously, we mentioned Indiana and Texas Tech, the 1 and the 4 seed. They benefit from those top seeds and they get the bye weeks. And that leaves Oregon versus James Madison. Oregon opened up or is currently a 21-point favorite.
Belt. That's all I gotta say. I just want to see how healthy everybody is. Other than that, I'm not really worried about um us losing or anything like that. If you look at JMU, yeah, they had a great season, but they really haven't beaten anybody of note. I mean, their claim to fame is losing by 2 scores to Louisville. Um, their strength of schedule is like 123 or something like that. There's only 136 teams, man. So if your schedule is that is your strength of schedule is that bad, and you somehow made the playoffs. I mean, whoever you played in the playoffs was gonna give BTA. So I mean, it just happens to be us, and they gotta come to Austin. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be crazy. It might be raining
I
or
was just gonna
snowing.
say, how do you expect that environment to be? How do you expect the weather to be? What do you think that atmosphere is
Crazy.
gonna be like for JMU at night?
I think it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, we got the night game. I mean, look, people was complaining, oh, A&M should have got the night game. No, you shouldn't have, because the better teams get the night game, but that's neither here nor there. Um, I mean, in all seriousness, though, it's just because we're on the West Coast and they're not gonna put us at like noon or something. So, whatever. But I think the environment is gonna be crazy. It's the first time there's ever a playoff game in Austin. Everybody's going to be excited because we're back in the playoffs after what happened last year. We know that we're probably going to win. I think the people are going to be crazy. Even if the students are at home, I think those seats are still going to be filled with fans. And, regardless of the weather, obviously there's always a high chance of precipitation when you're talking about the state of Oregon. But I think either way, it's going to be a crazy environment. I mean, these home playoff games are something special, man. And this is another topic for another day. But I think these games should be at home until the semifinals. So you know, it is what it is. But we get one more home game for these seniors to go out on a high note, and I'm just ready for it to be here, man. I think it's December 23rd, so I'm ready for that day to get here, man.
Yeah, so off camera we were just talking about the spread for this game at 17 and a half, and Steph sounded a little surprised when I said I feel like that's kind of low. What do you think, Sean?
21.
It's 21, I think. It's
21 and a
21.
half. Yeah.
I no, Steph's right. I mean, Oregon has been putting belt to plenty teams this year. I don't see why James Madison would be any different. Again, I think James Madison is worse than Tulane, so it'll probably get ugly before it gets pretty. And this is just, I think this we can, we'll talk about Alabama and Oklahoma, but I don't love the G5 in the whole playoffs thing, and I don't love two teams. I understand that there have been situations and times where we've had these special teams. I think Boise State from last year was a pretty good example. They were a very good team, but it's just a different ball game. And we talk about this off stream all the time in our chat. People that just don't really have grasp the concept. If you just think about it like racing or F1, I'm not a big F1 guy, but it's just the teams with the most money, the teams with the better cars are just going to perform better. It doesn't matter if you are a good racer. It doesn't matter if you're the same age or the same size. It doesn't matter if you guys also are playing D1 football. Alabama is not the same as Western Michigan. It's not. Georgia is not the same as Tulane. Oregon is not the same as James Madison. Um, some of these places are almost completely different worlds, completely different universes when it comes to budgets. And I think it would be best for G5 to, have their own playoff. I'm not. I'm not. I don't hate it that they get one in every once. You know what I mean? It's not the worst, but this is a tough situation. Blame the ACC, really. I can't blame the
Yeah, I
guys.
agree with
JMU,
you.
right?
I mean,
JMU
look,
did.
I think the G5 should have their own playoff as well. But at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. I mean, I was just telling
Yeah,
somebody else, I was like, well, this playoff was never supposed to be the 12 quote unquote best teams. The 14 playoff, yes, that's what they always said. Oh, we want the four best teams in the 14 playoff. But this is not that. As soon as you have automatic qualifiers, you're not saying that it's the best teams. Maybe the at larges are the best teams. Yeah, you're saying we want a few of the best teams. But when you have automatic qualifiers, you're no longer saying it's the quote unquote best teams. So, blame the ACC, blame Miami, blame UVA for not winning their game, because if UVA wins that game, JMU is not in the playoffs.
no, I
If
agree.
Miami takes care of business, then we're not even having this conversation. So,
Facts.
like it's really the ACC's fault, and
They're terrible.
like the rule is the rule, and if this was the last year format, then Tulane would have a bye. So, at least we're moving in the positive direction by having straight seasons, not just saying the top four highest ranked conference champions get a bye because we've seen again where the fourth highest ranked conference champion was a G5 team. So, I mean, obviously the playoff format needs tweaking and things like that, but I mean the rule's the rule, man. Like people can complain all they want, but it is what it is at this point. And I will say this, like, yeah, JMU and Tulane are taking up spots from 11 and 12, but we came up in the BCS era. You want to be teams 11 and 12 complaining about not getting in the playoffs? I don't feel bad for you because at the end of the day, you lost a game that you should have won to be included in the playoffs. So that goes for anybody who's on the outside looking in. Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Texas, BYU, who else? So, y'all can sit up there and whine and cry and do all that all you want, but at the end of the day, you didn't take care of business. Notre Dame, you lost 2 games. Texas, you lost 3 games. Vanderbilt, you lost 2 games. Once you lose multiple games, you leave it up to other people to decide your fate. If you want to decide your fate and control your own destiny in the 12-team playoff era, go 11 and 1. Go 12 and 0. Then you will control your own destiny. But if you're gonna sit up there and be 9 and 3 complaining about not being in the playoffs, I don't want to hear it. And it's embarrassing. And these are some of these fan bases are for teams that claim to be blue bloods and they're so great and they're this and that. And college football wouldn't be anything without them. Then why are you sitting up there whining like a little baby about not making a playoff that's expanded when y'all lost multiple games? If y'all was such a great program, y'all would have took care of business on the field and got into the playoffs.
And
You
not
don't
lost to
hear any
Florida.
exactly. Don't lose to Florida. And if you're Notre Dame, don't schedule a bunch of cupcakes and then try to act like you did something. Like congratulations, you beat the worst Stanford team in 30 years. Nobody, that's not moving the needle. So
Let's
y'all want to sit
off
up
the
there and
honorable.
complain, and we'll get into that whole situation a little bit later. But it boggles my mind when you see these teams whining and crying when it's like, bro, remember how the number three team used to feel when they were 11 and 1 and didn't get to play for the Natty? What like how can y'all sit up there and be 10 and 2 and 9 and 3 and complain? It's pathetic. I don't want to hear about it no more.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, Stefan. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's why it needs to be 14 or 16 team playoffs, and this is what I'll say to that: is adding another lane to the road going to solve traffic? No, it's
No.
just going to make
And
more
I'll but I'll
traffic.
say this. I'll say this. When they I've always been a fan of the 16 team playoff, but that's not the reason. Because I just think that's the best format. It's not because we're getting in all the teams that could potentially
Mhm.
win. That's not what it's about. It's about having the best format for the postseason. I think 12 is a fine format. I think there's obviously still tweaks that we can make. I think 12, 14, 16, whatever they want to do can be a perfectly fine format because regardless of how far you expand, there's going to be that team on the bubble that doesn't get in that complains. I mean, you see it in basketball. What is it, 64 now?
Yeah,
Stop complaining.
and there's
There's a
still
game
double team.
that you lost that you shouldn't have lost that kept you from making the playoffs. Win more games.
Well,
That's
let me
it.
ask both of you guys about that before we move on to talk about Notre Dame because I am itching to talk about Notre Dame. But um, obviously, Miami makes it in the playoffs. Do you think a team outside of Notre Dame deserves it over Miami? I think like Vandy, BYU, or two of the top teams that come to mind.
Hell
Um,
no.
Repeat that,
uh,
Sean. What teams should have made
I'm
it? You said
any team
BYU
to
and
be honest.
who?
I personally think Vandy over Miami makes sense in my brain. I think Vandy plays in the tougher conference. Their two losses, in theory, would be
They didn't
better than.
beat anybody that was good.
Yeah,
What
no,
what what
I'm
good
with
win
you.
does Vandy have? Tennessee is their best win, right? Who has
Probably.
Tennessee? Tennessee, they have a positive record because they beat all cupcakes. Tennessee
Yeah,
hasn't beaten anybody.
and Miami's best win is Notre Dame, who hasn't beaten anybody either. So
But no, Notre Dame is a way better win than any of those wins, though. When you
I
talk
mean,
about Vandy and BYU at least beat Utah, but Utah, I mean, I don't know.
BYU's two losses are to Texas Tech in the regular season, and Texas Tech in the
Right.
in the Big 12 championship
But
for me. I
they
think they
don't
also have
deserve
a good argument.
to be in the playoffs over anybody.
No, but my point is, neither does Miami. Like I don't think Miami has a deserves to be in the playoffs either.
I think they deserve to be in over Notre Dame, who they're in over.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I wasn't. We're gonna talk about Notre Dame. They were out of the conversation. I was asking about teams besides Notre Dame,
No, no,
like
no, no. I don't think any of them deserve to be in. Maybe if you I think Alabama shouldn't be in, and that would let somebody else be in. But
I think having
um,
two losses in that ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no
don't
way.
think, I mean, not to backtrack, but just having three loss Bama is just really bad for the brand. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think
we
any
got to
three
talk about
loss
that game.
team.
We got to talk about that game too against Oklahoma before we move on.
yeah.
By
We
the
oh
way,
yeah, that's true. We kind of did just forget about that game, but no, you're right, Haas. Three lost Bama, and the way they
Yeah.
lost too. Just it kind of feels nasty.
I feel like at some point everyone's advocating for a commissioner. That's everyone's dream for this shit. But until then, we need to at least have some kind of structure or non-negotiable. Like three L's is a non-negotiable.
I mean, this is it.
It doesn't matter if they're the Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. I mean,
Well,
three L's is
this is the
non-negotiable.
problem. This is the problem. And I agree with you by the way, but this is the problem. And I said this before the final ranking even came out. I say anybody that's in the playoffs already is not going to get dropped out for losing the conference championship game. And that remained true. And even though Alabama was already right there, if they drop one more spot, they will be out. Right. So um
But the weird thing is, like in the 14 playoffs, teams have been penalized for losing the championship, the
right.
conference
But that
chip.
was the 14
Georgia dropped
when
from
you
1 to 6 and was dropped and was left out of the
right.
out of the
Well, I mean
playoffs on a
Oregon
three
did
point
too.
loss in the conference chip. That's what
Oregon
I'm
did too,
saying.
the
So
same
like,
thing. But it's like, but the 4 team is different when you're comparing because you got to think like in this current year, I mean, was any would like if Texas Tech lost to BYU, they would have dropped out the top four in this year. They would still be in the playoffs, but they
do we
would have
know
dropped out the
that?
top
Do we
four.
know that if Bama
They would
didn't
not have
drop and
gotten a
they
bye.
lost,
If Texas Tech lost to BYU, they would not have a bye. They would not
they
have a
were under.
bye. It,
No, you're true
no, they
because they had
weren't. They
already
lost
lost a
to
game. Yeah,
Arizona
they
State.
lost a game. Yeah, they're
They
11 to
would not
one.
have a bye if they lost to BYU in that Big 12 championship. They probably would have moved Oregon up to number 4 if Texas Tech lost. They probably would have moved Oregon up to number 4. And
And then let BYU in over Miami.
um I don't know if it would have been over Miami, but yeah, Miami would have got bumped out because BYU would have took up one of the conference winner spots. So one of them would have got bumped out. So yeah, so we really wouldn't be having this conversation about Miami and Notre Dame because they both would be out if BYU won. But that's the point. Is like, and then people were bringing this up too. Was like they were saying that Alabama is the only team that didn't get dropped a ranking in the rankings after losing a conference championship, and it's because of what I said. I was like, look, whoever loses that conference championship that's already in an at-large spot is not going to get bumped out because they're going to say, oh well, they played an extra game, so it's not fair to teams that didn't have to play. And it's like I get that in some ways, but in other ways, the games still have to matter. Like if you're a team that's on the bubble like that, you should have to win the conference to get in. You know, you already got 2 losses. Like, yeah, it's an extra game, but if you lose, you should be out. Like I don't think you should just be saying stuff like, oh, we can't drop them because they're already in. But at the end of the day, if you're judging the whole resume, that's still a blemish on the resume. The game still happened. I mean, this is the conference where they say it
Yeah.
just means more. I thought it meant more. And to me, it seems like it means less. And that's why I'm still going to be calling y'all the soft EC because this is the type of behavior. I mean, this is like participation trophy stuff going on here. Like they lost a game, but yet they still get to be in the dance. It's like no, you shouldn't have to be in the dance because you lost the game. This is the most the deepest conference, the best conference. We the best teams. All this and that, but but somehow we allow losers to get into everything. What's up with that? I thought we were supposed to. to only allow winners. I mean, this is the area of the country that still wants to have Confederate statues up. So this doesn't really surprise me. I mean, they want to have people that lost a war still be, you know, remembered. But it's like, yo, they lost a war. Why y'all want to have Confederate statues up? But that's neither here nor there. So I'm just saying the mentality is similar by wanting to have Alabama, and you got your commissioner saying they should have 7 teams in. No, you shouldn't. Tell them teams to win more games to get in. That's the problem with y'all. Y'all think every team should be in. No, you're Alabama. You lost 3 games. Get the hell out of here, man.
Lost 3 games, lost the conference trip by 21. I mean, there has to be some type of
With
non-negotiable where
negative
you
three
can't get
rushing
into the
yards.
playoffs. You know how there's a, you know when you go to a club, they let you know off rip outside. No, you're not getting in with flip-flops. No, you're not
No
getting in with a
hats,
hat. No, you're not getting in with that AI jersey.
no
No, you
jersey.
getting it. You're not getting in with a backwards jersey trying to look like Cardi. No, you're not getting in with that shit. They need to have some type of non-negotiable that says no, you cannot get in with that. 3 losses. There's 12 teams. I mean, at that point, it's fair game. Like if you have 3 losses, like I said, it
Yeah, there's
doesn't
teams with
matter
2 losses
who
or
they're to.
one loss
Come
that
on now.
right.
Because
You know,
even if there's just so many questions around how they decide who gets what, who goes here at large, like if you got 3 losses, you're exempt. Like there's nothing you could do. I think that's at least one thing they could do that's fair because if that was the case, you would have had BYU in there, maybe even Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, shit. Tulane got in, but they could have made it in without even North Texas. But there's just so many teams that on like we know college football isn't about you don't get what you deserve in college football. It doesn't work like that. But I mean, in the 12-team playoff, there has to be some type of structure. It's just Bama not moving, getting in. They basically had an auto bid for their logo. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. They were rewarded for getting spanked by 21. Like, when will this happen again?
You should have
right.
to have 1 rushing yard in a game to get in the playoffs. In every single one of y'all games, if whether it's 12 or 13 games you play, you should have to have 1 rushing yard in all the games to get in the
I think
playoffs.
we'll see that soon once Prize Picks runs the committee or some shit.
Yeah. And real quick before we move on, like you mentioned, and it's weird because Steph is gonna love this. It's a matchup between 2 SEC teams, but it's kind of the least compelling matchup between Alabama and Oklahoma. And that
I
doesn't
know.
mean it's going to be a bad game because I think it's actually going to turn out to be an amazing game. But on paper, like beforehand, like nobody really wants to watch this game. Like
I
that
was
is
about to say
not
I really
really,
don't give a crap about this game at all.
yeah.
And to
Mind
say
you,
all
in a
that,
playoff that features two G
In the
five teams.
snow? Like,
I
does that
really,
not, does not, I feel like if that wasn't the weather, then it would have no value
I mean,
to
is it still
a
gonna
lot
be
of
snow there by the
viewers.
time the game, by the
No,
time
I
the
would
game
think
I
starts?
don't
so. I
disagree
think it's
on
going
it.
to be further out it's going to be further out in the year, so it's not going to get any warmer. I think
I
that it will
just
definitely be. I think it'll definitely be in the snow.
who do y'all think is gonna win? Because honestly, even though I just kind of shat on Alabama for a while, but I think Alabama's gonna win.
That's
It's
what
hard
I'm
to beat
Sad to
the
saying. I
say.
team
mean,
twice. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Sad to say. Well, and if you just look at how the first game went, I mean, Alabama turned the ball over a lot, and turnovers are not something you can count on every single game. And if Alabama just doesn't turn the ball over, they win that game. So
Mateer's a running quarterback, and Alabama's strength is their run defense. So their best
right.
rusher is their quarterback, and God forbid anything happens to that guy's
Well,
GG's in
and,
the chat.
they can't, like you said, they can't throw the ball. Their offense has been anemic. I mean, they are the Iowa of the SEC. So you're not.
And I
I
will
don't
say,
feel.
not to interrupt, but at least they have an identity.
Yeah,
Alabama does it. At least Oklahoma
but
knows what they are. So that could be an advantage.
That is very true.
you got to be able to throw the ball to beat good teams, man. Like I don't see
Right.
Oklahoma winning
That's true.
without being able to throw the ball.
And it'd
Yeah.
be I would feel different if Oklahoma had any crazy splash players, but they don't have that.
I mean, you're right, but
I don't think they
all year
have a
long they've been
guy who
like in
could
these
take
dog
over.
fights, and then it'd be like Satania breaks a 78-yard touchdown, and like so, like they do have a guy that can. And again, that's not viable one guy or anything like that. But if you got to win one game, you never know. But I don't know. I'm leaning Oklahoma, but it's hard to beat a team twice. It's
So
hard to beat.
Satega, yeah, is 1 billion% their best player. That's their
Yeah, he's nice, but
what is he, a senior?
I, I'm not sure. I've known about him since last year. That doesn't mean anything, but
That's
I've
nah, he's
known.
a junior. That's their leading wide
Yeah,
receiver. He has almost a rack on 65 catches, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 14 yards per catch. So that's a
yeah, he's
great
pretty
weapon for
explosive.
sure. We all know about Mateer. I mean, outside that guy though, it looks like they
That's
have
it. No, that's it,
yeah,
bro.
no, that's 1,000% it. That's one
That's it.
thousand percent it. Their third leading receiver is their tight end with
Yeah,
500 yards. So
I think he's decent. I think they have the tight end as a nice player, but yeah, Oklahoma, like Steph's
Ooh.
been saying, Oklahoma, you need offense. At some point, you're gonna have to score touchdowns. You can't beat teams
I
kicking
like
field
Bama in
goals.
this game. I actually the more I start to dissect this game, I feel more comfortable with Bama winning this game.
Yeah, should be a definitely interesting matchup. We'll be back next week or maybe week and a half, and we'll make some actual official picks once the spreads kind of settle and all that. But yeah, that is the 2025 official college football playoff bracket. Um, a lot of time left to go. It's the beautiful thing about this, and also the bad thing about this. I think I seen a thing where it was like I forgot there was like 2 3 weeks in between some certain teams playing. Like that's a long time, almost a month in between certain teams like competing.
Bro,
So,
if Oregon got a bye, it would be 32 days from
sheesh,
our last game to January 1st.
yeah, that's
I mean, the
insane.
national championship is what on the 19th
It's
or the
like, yeah, it's
20th.
like mid-January. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
still over a month away. That's a lot of football left to be played. So, all right, let's play the music because it's time to discuss the gold helmets and all the other clownery that went
There's a lot
on.
of clownery going on, man.
Yeah, yeah, over this past week. Here we go. It is everybody's favorite segment. It is Clown of the Week. Like I mentioned at the start of the show, I have a couple of submissions myself. I think we all at least have one equal submission, and that's where we'll start. It's with Notre Dame, man. Been avoiding talking about them, but it's finally time to discuss these guys. And obviously, the biggest thing is them pulling out of the bowl game. Took their ball, they went home after not qualifying for the playoffs. But there's a whole plethora of issues when you dissect Notre Dame. I think this was a wake up call, a reality check, a statement made by the committee to Notre Dame about where they stand um, in college football. There's been a lot of talk, obviously, about them joining conferences and Notre Dame's plan and what they do every single year, the way they schedule and how they kind of just coast as an independent team to a playoff spot every year. Well, this year it was different. This year the committee said, yeah, 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 no, no more of that. And Notre Dame did not take lightly to that. Obviously, released a statement. Think there's going to be a press conference tomorrow, or maybe it already happened at some point today. But Notre Dame definitely clown of the week. I'll let you guys get your takes off um, because again, bowl games are meaningless. I do get that, but Notre Dame, they're the ultimate losers, the ultimate quitters.
I don't
Uh,
think it's meaningless. I think if you like football, if you're supposed to be doing something that you love to do and enjoy, you should want to play football regardless of what the game is and what the so-called stakes are. It's like, yo, like if I'm a football player and my team has a game to play, I'm playing in the game. If I'm healthy, everything is fine, I'm playing in the game. I really don't understand this whole opt-out thing and this and that. It's like, yo, you have a limited time to play this game. This you're not gonna be 35. Most likely, you're not gonna be 35 playing. You're not gonna be 30 playing this game. Most likely, if you're lucky enough to make it to the NFL, what are you gonna last till 25 and be done? I mean, people don't understand the opportunity that it is to even play football at the college level, let alone the FBS level. So for teams to sit up there and opt out of a bowl game when there's nothing wrong, like I could see if you're a 5-17 and it's like, okay, you get invited to a bowl game, but you don't even deserve to go to a bowl game because
Or
you're
we
a
lost
five
the
and seven.
coach or something like that,
I
right?
understand that. Even if you lost a coach, I don't understand it because the rest of the staff can coach for the rest of the bowl game. My own my
That's true.
own
That's
team,
true.
my own team did it in 2021 when Mario Cristobal left to go to Miami. We still had a bowl game to play, and guess what? We played we played the game. No, we did not say, "Oh, our coach left, so we're opting out of the game." No, we played the game. So N- Notre Dame is the biggest clown of them all in this situation. But guess what? Iowa State is a clown too. Kansas State is a clown too because y'all got players on the roster. Y'all should want to play the game. How can you be a senior and allow this to happen? How can you be a senior on one of these teams and allow this to happen? If I was a senior on one of these teams, I would not talk to none of them coaches again for the rest of my life because we would not be cool. How can you sit up there and say we're not gonna play the game when we are invited to play a game and there's a game on the schedule? This is football. And I just wonder when you see fans and stuff say things like that, I just wonder if people even like the game. Do you even like the sport? Because how can you not want to play football? How can you not want to watch football? And like I get it, like I understand there's a lot of bowl games that maybe we shouldn't have. Like there might be too many bowl games. I get it. I get all that. I think that's a valid point. But if my team gets invited to play a bowl game, I would 100% want to play in a bowl game. I mean, look at Georgia. They was mad they didn't get in the playoffs a few years ago, and what did they do? They put belt to ass on Florida State in that Orange Bowl, and pretty much all
Scoreboard
their
looked
good
like
players played.
basketball.
For real, pretty much all the good players played. I mean, I think only did Brock Bowers not play, but he got surgery during the season. It's like okay, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Like
everyone played. I think James Cook was
yeah,
in that game.
yeah,
I
like
think
pretty much
everyone played in
everybody
that
played.
game.
Like Missouri in the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State didn't have a single opt out. So for y'all to sit up there and think because you didn't make the playoffs, you're not going to play in a bowl game is disgusting. It's gross. You know what it is? It's like a kid and we've all been there when a kid is losing at a game where you playing outside or you playing at the park or you playing a board game, a kid is losing at checkers and just flips the board over because he
Yeah, I'm
losing.
taking my ball.
Yeah, taking my ball and going home because you losing.
The ball
It's like
everybody was
yo,
playing with.
yeah, it's like now hey, nobody can play because you lost. No, that's not how life works. And honestly, and speaking of life, I want like this is not the lesson you should be sending to these young men that you're coaching and that if you're the AD that you're supposed to be supporting. Like if y'all was a real team, y'all should want to prove why y'all should be in the playoffs. And whether that was in whatever bowl game, the Cheez It Bowl, Pop Tarts Bowl, or whatever bowl game that y'all was gonna play in, y'all should be trying to put BTA on whatever opponent y'all would be lined up against. I think it would be BYU. I think in the Pop Tarts Bowl was what Notre Dame was supposed to be in. But it's like, yo, like y'all should want to make a point by playing in that bowl game. Y'all should want to just go out one last time with the boys because this is never going to happen again. As long as you live, being a part of Notre Dame is never going to happen again. You cannot turn around and be 40 years old and go back to college and play football. So for y'all to sit up there and do something like this is clown behavior. There's no way around it. It is what it is. Everybody on that team for allowing it is a clown. Marcus Freeman is a clown. Your AD is a clown. The University of Notre Dame is full of clowns. And I've never been a Notre Dame fan. I've never liked Notre Dame. I always hope they lose because of stuff like this. This is the type of stuff that they do. They sit up there, schedule a bunch of cupcakes, lose against the only good teams they play, and they get mad when they're not in the playoffs. Bro, it's a 12-team playoff. If you're not in there, you just not good enough. Point blank, period.
And that leads to
Like,
the next question. Should they join a conference? Should they be forced to join a conference? Obviously, the AD was talking about, oh, we fractured the relationship with the ACC. So maybe they won't be joining the ACC like most people thought they would if they
they
were
were
to
never
join a
going to join the
conference.
ACC. And that's why the ACC was campaigning for Miami to be in the playoffs. The ACC was doing the right thing. It's like, bro, Notre Dame was never going to join the ACC. And every time this conversation of Notre Dame joining the conference gets brought up, I always say the same thing. They're never going to join the conference until they're absolutely forced to, until it becomes a point where they literally just can't schedule anybody because they're not in a conference. I mean, it is what it is. I think should they is a different question. Personally, I don't really know because I think they still have a path to the playoff, without being in a conference. Like if they just win enough games, like don't lose two games. That's really the bottom line. You're gonna have to win a big game to get into the playoffs, and that goes for anybody, whether you're in a conference or not. You have to win a big game to get in the playoffs. So I don't really. I mean, should they? I don't know. I don't know. But I know the reality is that they're not going to until they're absolutely forced. And they were never going to join the ACC. That deal that they had with the scheduling was just so that they could get enough Power 5 and Power 4 and now opponents on the schedule. And then they add, the USC game, Stanford game, so then their schedule kind of looks like everybody else's, but I mean, it is what it is. You play cupcakes. You didn't beat A&M. You didn't beat Miami. Y'all should have beat one of them teams to be in the playoffs.
Should have been records. Gold. Shit going gold.
Yeah, well, they going cardboard right now. That gold turned to cardboard.
And I will say, though, I think if Notre Dame got in, they would have been dangerous. I think Notre Dame was definitely a good
I
team.
agree. I
Um,
agree. I think Notre
but
Dame is better than Alabama for sure, and
right.
Oklahoma.
I
And
think they're
I
better than
think
Miami.
Jeremiah
I think
Love is
Miami beat
better
them, but
than Ashton Genty. I think Jeremiah Love is going to be an absolute superstar at the next level. I think he's a man amongst boys in college football. And I agree. If they made the playoffs, they would have won at least one game, in my opinion.
yeah, they were
I
dangerous.
agree.
So, but clowns for sure, for definite.
But I do gotta say something real quick though.
Go ahead.
I really think that Miami is in the playoffs because they didn't want to leave the ACC out. I mean, that's just my conspiracy, you know, brain going right now. Like, I don't have any evidence to back up this claim, but that's really what I think happened. I mean, the committee, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to reports and stuff like that, but in the weeks leading up to the final ranking, the committee said that they could flip flop Miami and Notre Dame. And I think they realized that Duke very well could win the ACC, and that will knock out the entire conference because Notre Dame is ranked ahead of Miami, and Duke is not. They're not going to they're not going to put Duke in over JMU. So that was really the choice. Were they going to put Duke in over JMU, or because JMU was already ranked too? They were like 20 something before. So they would have had to justify ranking Duke ahead of JMU when Duke
Yeah, I
was
think
not
JMU
even
was
close
25.
to being ranked. They were not even close to being in the top 25. They're probably like 30 something or 40 something. I mean, remember, this is a 7-5 team. They were not close to being ranked. So, they would have had to justify putting Duke in over JMU, or they could flip flop Miami ahead of Notre Dame if they wanted to have every conference represented. And I just think that's what they did. They decided to flip
Yeah,
flop
and lucky
Miami
for
and
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame, and that
Yeah,
just goes to show you
for the
how
conference.
dumb it is to have the rankings every single week because it really doesn't matter until the end. Like they really should just reveal the playoff rankings at the end of the season and not
Yeah, they should.
do it in like these weeks leading up because then you have nonsense like this. You're like, well, we're ranked ahead of this team the entire time. We did not lose. So why are they just gonna flip us at the end And it's not even like they flipped them last week. They flipped them after the conference championship week when both of them didn't even play. Like that's just the stupidest thing in the world. Stupidest thing in the world. Like personally, when it come down to Miami and Notre Dame, I didn't really give a crap who made the playoffs. I think I would have just chose Miami because they won head to head. But like personally, I think there's valid points for both the teams to win. I mean, both were 10-2. Miami beat them, but they also had worse losses than Notre Dame. So it's like, you know, potato potato. But I just I think the whole thing with the rankings leading up to it and then flipping them when both of them didn't even play a game was just asinine by the committee. I mean, these are supposed to be smart people, ads with degrees, but I don't know. For some reason they do a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah, just just a strange situation. I mean, the committee, they've changed their policy now. Feels like 100 times on what they are looking for in a playoff team, and I'm sure again next year there will be some more substantial changes. It just feels like we don't have much clarity or much consistency over the years on a year-to-year basis, and that just causes a lot of confusion and uproar as we've seen in this situation. I think you've made a whole bunch of valid points there, Steph, and it leads to teams like Notre Dame feeling like they got snubbed. And obviously Alabama last year, they were a big snub. Florida State a couple years ago. So teams are always going to feel like that. I think Notre Dame handled it as bad as and as poorly as they possibly could have.
Clown.
Clowns for sure. Let's move on. I got a couple more clowns of the week. Does anybody else have another submission for clown of the week?
I think I got all mine out the way because we mentioned Notre Dame and Iowa State.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're a team that's opting out of a bowl game that's not 5-7, you're a clown. If you're 5-7, I understand it because you should also send a lesson to the players that you don't get to be rewarded for having a subpar season. But I mean,
I got
on
one
that
clown.
subject, I like if I was a player, I see both sides of it. Like I wouldn't be mad if they put us in the bowl game, like the Georgia Southern and App State thing. But I also wouldn't be mad if the team decided to opt out either. If you're 5-7, but if you're 6-6 or better, you better play in that damn game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams now are using the excuse that players are all over the place. They've already left for the portal. Some have declared for the draft.
Well, the
Some da
portal
da
ain't
da
open
da.
yet, so no
But they ain't
excuses.
at the program no more, so they're in the portal. Maybe not the official portal, but they in a portal.
They hit
I
that
do
Doctor
got
Strange
another.
portal.
I do have another clown of the
Yeah, go ahead.
week, but because I haven't been on for a few episodes, I'm gonna retro activate my clown of the week for the past few weeks, and I'm gonna give that clown of the week to Lane Kiffin because this is low key a life lesson too, and it's just Lane Kiffin is just a liar. I hate liars, and he's gonna be my clown of the week because not only did he lie to everybody at Ole Miss, but I think he's probably preached more than anybody that the grass isn't greener on the other side to keep what he's had at Ole Miss, to get what he's had at Ole Miss, and for him to leave and go to LSU is a complete joke. I think LSU's AD maybe is eligible for clown of the week because Lane Kiffin does not embody Louisiana. I think anybody could look at him and tell that. He's way more yeehaw Mississippi than anything. I don't think he embodies LSU at all. I think him leaving his entire team in the playoffs is disgusting, and he low key after this tenure at LSU, I don't think it's gonna be long, but I think that this guy should be banned from college football. Like I just think he's one of the corniest people. And then he had that little run in with that little reporter who called him a hoe. He thought he was tough because he pressed his little uh Lester from GTA. He pressed him like, "Come on, man, you're not that guy, bud. Like nobody thinks you're tough, Lane Kiffin." And then he's just like too old for so much shit. I don't know. The guy's super corny. I think he's Hollywood as fuck. And if it doesn't last long at
Release the
LSU, we could
Lane
probably
theme
see him
file.
at USC. I mean, he's oh, the Ben
Yeah, and
Griffin called it
he
what it
lucky I
is.
wasn't that reporter because I would have called him a hoe right to his face.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I mean, he knew who he could and can walk up to and say something
Exactly.
like
He
that.
said, "Oh,
Like,
you calling me a hoe and see what happens." I'd have been like, "Well, you a hoe. What you gonna do about it?" Like, if I say something in public about somebody, I would expect to be able to say it to their face personally.
I just
But
think, yeah, he's not that guy. And abandoning Ole Miss, I think, was a huge mistake. I think it was a huge mistake. And LSU is LSU. It's LSU is a blue blood program for sure. Top five university in college football. One of the most historical programs, best stadiums, all of that for sure. But I think that it's a special position, special role that just ain't for Lane Kiffin. He's not that guy. Like maybe Saban, Kirby, shit. This is gonna sound bizarre, but just off of makeup and character, like Lanning fits that position more than Lane Kiffin. You know, it's just completely like I think you see right through Lane Kiffin, kind of like Brian Kelly. I think Lane Kiffin is more creative when it comes to coaching. He's definitely a good coach. I won't take away anything from his philosophy as a coach, but in terms of a leader, I don't think that's going to work at LSU. I think that bag you obviously don't turn down, but abandoning your gang in the playoffs is just
before the
crazy.
playoffs,
Like it's crazy. It's just crazy. Like
and
we're
and what
not in
has
those
Lane
shoes, so
Kiffin
we
won?
really don't know how it feels. But it's just it's a crazy. To execute that
What
is crazy.
honestly, and there's no
Sicko.
excuse. There's no excuse because nowadays we just talk a lot about Indiana being a team that can win the national championship this year. And like in the days of NIL transfer portal, like you can win at a program that maybe doesn't have as much of the history as some of these other programs. So I think there's a valid argument that he should have stayed at Ole Miss, like you said.
For
And
sure, and it
you
hurts the
know,
sport. I think it hurts the sport. It hurts the sport.
right,
He what everything he built up to this point just to leave it for what, and he tries to blame it on the people up top for the schedule, like the schedule makers and stuff. But bro, what was the point of even coaching this year if you knew there was a 1% chance you would leave? That's not an excuse. So I think that it hurts the sport, and people are going to lead and do the same thing. I mean, who's to say DeBoer is going to thug it out at Bama if they get shut out in these offs and don't make it next year and things get tough? I
yeah,
think it's
you never
corny.
know. You never know. You
There
never
was some
know.
smoke with him in the Penn State job for a little bit, so that could
I don't
be.
think that was real. I don't think that was
Yeah, but
real.
again, it was just smoke. I'm not gonna confirm. Like, yeah, it was just rumors, but I
Hey,
could definitely.
SEC, that short, no one knows. No, we really don't know how long any Bama's leash is as a coach. I mean, Saban was there for our entire
Yeah,
lives essentially, so we really don't know how long any coach's
Right,
leash is at Bama.
it's not for everybody.
right. I mean, and what has Lane Kiffin even won? Because I
Nothing.
mean, you brought up Lanning, but Coach Lanning is already a more accomplished coach than Lane Kiffin is.
Lane Kiffin won at FAU. I think that was his where
Yeah,
he
he
won
won
his
the American at FAU,
American. Yeah,
but Coach Lanning won the Big Ten year one and was in the Pac-12 championship before the Pac-12 collapsed. So that's already farther than Lane Kiffin has been, and we made the playoffs. Lane Kiffin has never made the playoffs. He would have this year if he would have
got
stayed.
packed by the Gators last year. Jackson Dart and them thought it was sweet
Like,
this
why
year.
do you think you may be rewarded financially, but you're not gonna get blessed by the football gods for abandoning your football team during the playoffs? Come on, bro.
I mean, I might predict that he don't even win a championship at LSU.
That was definitely infinite bad karma. You're right, Haas. Like that's not. It's not. I'm not jacking him at LSU
I just
either.
think about the actual people
It's
who
a bad
put like
fit. It's
the
a bad
blood,
fit.
sweat, and tears on the field. You know, like obviously he's a coach. He's putting in the same sweat equity in terms of like hours, but he's not in between the lines and really like these are kids. It's not like the NFL where a man will get traded, have to move his family across the country, whatever. They're NFL. They have they're mature and old enough to handle those types of things. But you're talking about college where yeah, these big programs have a lot of resources and money, but they can't be as attentive and like the time he probably doesn't really understand how much he's impacting those kids. Like he may see it, but he really may not understand until years down the road where like he sees these were their glory days and abandoning them now. He like abandoned them with one of their biggest opportunities of their lifetime. That's how I look at it. So I think that's corny as fuck. And he abandoned them for an in conference opponent. Like We'll see what it looks like next year, though. I'm sure the schedule makers will line that one up.
For sure. All right, I got, like I mentioned, I still got three clowns of the week that I want to mention. I'll run through these quick so we can just close out this show and get out of here.
Your mic went out, Sean.
You hear me? Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. First guy.
Your mic went out. You may be trying to speak on somebody important.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you. I don't know if you should say this one.
Right. He might be the ultimate op. Jared Hallis. He's a Georgia Tech podcaster.
Ooh,
Yeah. He
we're
went
calling out
on.
other pods now.
Yeah, we are. We definitely are. But he went
We're
on.
gonna need a new soundbite for this one.
He went on his podcast and he said that Buster Faulkner, obviously the former Georgia Tech OC, now Florida OC, that he's moving backwards, and that was basically a downgrade for Buster Faulkner, and that
What a dude.
basically insinuating Georgia Tech OC is a better job than Florida OC, and it's just I don't know how delusional Bernke has got
It's
those
just
guys
being
over
a
there,
homer. It's just being a homer, bro.
but like I just don't understand how you could ever think any job at Georgia Tech would ever be better than any job at Florida. With all due respect, and I like Georgia Tech. Again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so I usually get along with Georgia Tech, and I root for those guys. But just the pure delusion and idiocy is just it's comical. That guy's a clown, obviously. Um, Again, best Georgia Tech team ever can only win 9 games in the worst ACC ever. Like this is nasty work. There's a reason
Maybe
why
he
he
meant
left.
academic wise. You have to get some
Not
context. Have you heard
maybe
it with your own ears?
and yeah, I saw. I'll see if I can find the clip, but he doubled down on the triple down on it. Yeah, clown.
Like, I'm a Georgia fan, and I'll tell you, I hate Florida, but let's not act like the state of Florida isn't the state of Florida. So that is already more of an. That's the only reason Lane Kiffin probably was considering it,
Correct.
because it's in the state of Florida. I mean, there's too many luxuries to living in Florida, so we're not gonna act like Georgia Tech is anywhere close to Florida as a football program. I mean, that's definitely clown material.
Yeah, and that leads me actually to my second clown of the week. Um, I'm the only one that's allowed to clown Florida, so I'm gonna take the time to clown them. And yeah,
I'm a clown Florida anytime I want to clown Florida.
yeah, Billy Napier and in specific, former Gator GM Jacob LaFrance. You guys are both clowns of the week. Congrats on landing back in the Sun Belt a couple of weeks ago, maybe right before they got fired. Actually, on this
Sunbelt
podcast.
Billy is back.
Yep, he is. On this podcast, Jacob LaFrance was the clown of the week after he shot off a tweet after we beat Texas. And he tweeted, Sunbelt Billy and the boys, as a kind of dig at the fan base, since that's what obviously was a moniker that the fans gave them. Very tone deaf. Mind you, that was after we beat Texas. Good win, but we were 2-3. We were horrible. Our season was still over. Like, and he just wasn't able to read the room. Shot off the tweet. Boom. A week later, after shooting off that tweet, a burner is leaked. Marshall O'Donohue is Jacob LaFrance's burner. We talked about it here on this podcast, I think. Go back to the Texas episode, guys. If you will go back to that clown of the week, we talked all about it. So yeah, Marshall O'Donohue, Jacob LaFrance, Billy Napier. You guys are all the clowns of the week. Sunbelt Billy and the boys, they're back in action. I hope you guys enjoy the Sunbelt, and they probably will enjoy the Sunbelt. Billy was dominating the Sunbelt before he came to Florida, so now he's at JMU, probably the best program in the Sunbelt. I don't see why shit changes, but anyways, that leads me to the final clown of the week. This guy, he can honestly just win a lifetime clown award. He's up there with the biggest of all the clowns, and that goes out to Diddy. Obviously,
There's a few Diddies in this football world? Are we talking Deshaun Watson? Are we
I'm
talking
talking
who are we
about Sean
talking?
Diddy Combs. I'm talking about Diddy, P Diddy. Um, yeah, this guy. Obviously, the documentary just dropped. If you guys haven't seen it, I wouldn't recommend you to go watch it because it's a pretty dark and deeply disturbing documentary. But if you're interested, go ahead and check it out. It's on Netflix. I watched it. That guy's a freaking clown. Again, lifetime clown achievement award. He was a clown as a kid. He's a clown as a teenager. He's a clown as an adult. I don't gotta explain much. You guys all know at this point. But yeah, Diddy, you were my final clown of the week. Um, that documentary was insane. But yeah, that will pretty much wrap up our show. Then, definitely good energy, definitely good vibes here on this episode. It was a fun championship weekend. It's crazy that the regular season again is officially over. We're into some postseason football. I'm not sure what we'll do about an episode next week. We do have that Army Navy game next Saturday. If there's some talking points, if there's some things to talk about, maybe we will be back. But definitely expect us to be back before the playoffs begin to make our predictions for those first round games and yeah, to get us through the playoffs. We appreciate Haas for sliding through with this episode. Hopefully he'll be back in the future.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man, you guys know where to find us on all platforms. Just search the Pigskin Live, find Road to Glory on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you'll find the audio on YouTube as well. Follow our Instagram at the Pigskin Live. Follow our main page at the Pigskin. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy your off week of college football. Enjoy some NFL. Yeah, we will be back soon to discuss the first round of the playoffs. Until then, peace.